Hello everyone and welcome to another video. A question that a lot of people have been asking me is which language should I learn for the future, or just in general, which language should I learn? There are several things I think you need to keep in mind when you ask yourself this question, but if you would ask me personally, I would say in general, the number one language that you should invest the most time in learning is English. No doubt about that in my mind. In the next at least 20, 30, 40 years, English is going to be the most important language in the world. Many reasons for that, whether it is good or not good. This is not for me to judge, it's just the way it is. No doubt about that. If you have any time left and you would like to learn a language, I would spend as much of that time as possible on learning English or perfecting my English skills. Now, if you already speak English well, either you're a native speaker or you just speak English well, the second language that I would learn, or a language that I would consider a general safe bet, like regardless of what your future plans are, what your work is, whatever, you would just like to have a second language that you'd like to know as a safe bet for the future. Now I have a list here, so the languages that, and there are many things that need to be considered here. The languages are Spanish, Mandarin Chinese, French, Arabic, and Russian. Again, many things to consider: how many native speakers there are, in how many countries of these languages there are, in how many countries these languages are spoken, and how many languages these languages are considered to be the lingua franca, which means that they are means of communication. How many native speakers of these languages don't speak English or another language that you can communicate in. So again, many things that you can that you need to consider. What is if this is your thing, what is the economic power or gain that you can have by learning this language based on the economic power of the countries where this language is spoken, and so on and so on and so on. So the general second safe bet would be, again, Spanish, Mandarin, French, Arabic, or Russian. Now, if you want to be more specific and you just would like to learn a language for your future, there are two ways you can go here. The thing that you need to consider here is that you need to learn the language of the country where you will be working, or you need to learn the language of the country at which your work will be aimed at, which is logical, right? So if you will work for an Italian company, even if you're in the United States, you should learn Italian. If you will work in Italy, you should learn Italian, even if Italian is not one of the languages that I mentioned before. Now, you can go on two ways here. You can again learn a language which is sort of like a safe bet that will cover a very, very large area. Or you can learn a niche language, so-called niche language, which is a language not spoken by too many people. And you can be basically like the only person on the block, so to speak, who knows that language. And it will kind of elevate your chances of being employed, or just basically your chances at life. Both of these approaches, like the general one to learn a language which has a bigger scope, or to learn a niche language, both of these approaches have their pros and cons. If you know a language that has a more general scope, you have more options, but at the same time there's much more competition because there's a lot of native speakers who speak the language, and then there's a lot of foreigners who or non-native speakers who learn this language to a very high level, so you're going to have a lot more competition. Now, if you learn a niche language, then of course there's going to be a lot less people who learn and speak that language, but at the same time there's going to be a lot less opportunities for you to get employed or just make it in life by knowing that language. So these are the things that you need to consider when going for one of the two approaches. And then, of course, there's the option for you if you just want to learn a language because you like learning languages, or you just would like to learn a foreign language for whatever reason. And in this case, I say, well, learn whichever language you are naturally attracted to. Like, for instance, you went to Italy for 2 weeks for a vacation, and you just fell in love with the country. Well, I think that's a no-brainer as an answer. Then you will just learn Italian. There's no point for you to learn Japanese when there is no connection between you and Japan whatsoever. Maybe you fell in love in Italy. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you love the music. Maybe you love the food, the history, whatever. I think it's very, very self-explanatory. If you want to learn a language just because you want to learn a language, then learn the one which you are emotionally attracted and attached to. So yeah, that's the sort of short and long answer at the same time to the question, which language you should learn for the future. I hope it helped. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.